The implementation for BIM in Malaysia actually started in 2000s by the private sector. However, in public sector, it was only started in 2007 by JKR. At that time, JKR also introduced the BIM standard and guideline, and firstly being implemented in the project planning for public work. One of the strategies to increase BIM usage is actually by establishing a cooperative relationship between JKR, IDB, and MSC. So this collaboration actually is to support and encourage BIM abilities and advantages to the public. BIM can be described as an advanced software that is able to construct, communicate, and produce analysis in the form of digital data for construction purpose. Other than that, it also able to cover the entire life cycle of the project, starting from the project preparations until end of the project. BIM also able to improve the efficiency of operations between the consultant by sharing all the project information as shown in the left figure.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, my name is Muhammad Jeffrey bin Sofyan. So I will present the issues and problems that relate with the BIM application. So the BIM and the construction industry issues. We can see that the construction industry is one of the major industry that contribute to the Malaysian economy and also the support social development. But however, there are several problems that occurred in the construction project that cause a negative impact to the industry, such as delayed projects, dirty construction sites, difficult and dangerous site condition, and also the poor quality of works and accidents in the construction sites. But this problem can be solved through this ICT solution that's related with the BIM as a tool and also the application. This can help the problems during the pre-construction phase, the construction phase, and also the post-construction phase. But there are still lack in terms of problem and challenges in the BIM application. And the question is, the BIM is not fully adopted in the Malaysian construction industry, and how these four components or four factors can relate with this kind of challenge. First is the people that relate to the consultant, client, and authorities. Second is technology, how the implementation of the hardware and software and the exchange of data. The policy, the relation between the professional bodies and either government or privates, and also the process, how the authorities provide the guidelines for the consultants. And here are the table that shows the barriers of the BIM implementations that relate with the four factors, and also the strategic solutions for the BIM implementation that consists of external and the internal.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. My name is Wan Ashraf Fakirin bin Wan Azhari. So I will continue the presentation of significance of study. So the type of challenging in implementing building information building, as we know, it is the significance of to identify the understanding on what are the challenging in various phases by Malaysian architecture practice by implementing building information building in their projects. So they have four categories, which is the first one is technology, management, financial, and legal. So as we know, the building information is to generate the 3D building by modeling and lead to the BIM and categorize the system that construct the method by following the technology, management, financial, and legal. So during the preparation, in terms of the design development and maintenance and operation, it has a building nuisance inside the cure. So when we arrange the system, it a way to convey the understanding, experience, and insight and skill to require the understanding information become the knowledge or technology to the management, financial, design, construction, maintaining, and operating in building. So moving to the building information modeling by the knowledge of the cycle, as we can see the first one, you can see the access of the BIM knowledge by hypothesis in terms of contextualist knowledge by BIM representing the specific problem by the activity, and updating the BIM knowledge in terms of the repository. and they have three stages, which is the first one is planning stage, design stage, and construction stage. For the first one is planning stage. As we know that the planning stage create the activity in a planning by include the master planning in urban design, and it create the master plan by the framework to control the development of the collection of building with the consideration of their massing, height, acceleration, connectivity, and the street location, and continues with the framework to provide enough of detail in context of the social, economic, environment, energy, service, and security by infrastructure in terms of the service. So the process of designing following, which is the first one is the regulatory framework, and moving to the master plan. In terms of the master plan, for the BIM also can create with 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D. So moving to the next stage, which is the design stage. As we know, at the design point, the primary objectives is to ensure the design by construction guidance and by documentation that established to ensure that the delivered building is a functional, sustainable, and livable by maintaining the operation healthy and sustainable. They have 5 knowledge to management benefit in terms of the design stage. As we know, the first one is the coordination and collaboration by building system. Move to the clash detection and constructability by assessment and risk evaluation. High level of customization of the building construction activity. And the last one is the optimizing of schedule and cost estimation. As we can see, the recycle of the design stage, we can see by the conceptual design, detailed design, analysis, documentation, fabrication, construction, and etc. So moving to the construction stage, as you can see, in terms of the frame from the construction productivity improve the using BIM, we can see the transformation of the consist sustainable building perform ideal term of intent the reality take place at this stage. So the productivity of this stage is very essential by generating the output and set of the input. So to improve the construction stage, the productivity also, the resource of the output should be prepared in a system that support the effective the construction activity. So as you can see, the main figure of construction project, they have shown the input and output from the material and construction output. So the system can be managed properly in terms of the management practice, management timeline, labor effective, so that the support of the building information modeling also can be easiest to people to create the hardware.
For the analysis, this was a survey done by Muhammad in 2014. From 110 respondents, 83% of them are well informed the existing of BIM. However, only 20% of them use the software in their project, and another 3% prefer to outsource from the other party. It is because most of the software being used in the architecture practice to produce the architecture drawing is AutoCAD. It's a device traditionally used for the development of 2D drawings. During the early stage in the construction project, the transfer of drawing file from the consultant makes all the team members use the same software framework because the software has their own platform and do not share the same format. And lastly, BIM player in Malaysia is only at a very early stage of deployment. Majority of the users use BIM software not more longer than 2 years. Only 60% of them use BIM for more than 4 years. While deployment still in early stage, this is simply an indicator that this architecture firm is actually still learn from BIM and content to continue implementing the technology.
So the conclusion is BIM use continues to develop around the world, and BIM is used in design to develop an operation process for the more high-profile construction project. It is a good sign that more than 80% of the Malaysian architecture firm is aware of BIM and its advantage. However, as only 2% of architecture firms in Malaysia are currently using the technology, it trails behind many other developed countries in terms of the adoption. The result of the reading and study paper indicate the Malaysian BIM trend in general is not very different from the previous BIM trend study from other part of the globe. It is regard the architecture industry in Malaysia have been benefit of studying how they plan to roadmap toward the full implementation in terms of BIM have been built by the US and Europe in particular. Malaysian architecture industry should be prevent the fear of the mindset that have occurred those nations and strive the strategize for a better roadmap toward the full implementation of the BIM. For this happen, all parties include government, institution, agency, organization, and education institution must participate and work together to achieve this target. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you.